I've tried content creation in the past where I started some channels, all of which were basically faceless and voiceless. Much of the inspiration I got were from Japanese creators at the time, so that's why. But as my interests changed, I realized faceless channels don't really lend itself to the content that I want to make, like a travel channel or a video essay channel. I wanted to do more, but the biggest thing that held me back was the speaking and presenting in front of the camera part. I had this fear and this feeling of awkwardness. It certainly doesn't help that I'm actually a huge introvert and I have struggled with crippling shyness when I was a kid. But after 42 years on this earth, I mostly got over the shyness, but I still get that strike of fear that kind of makes me want to throw up sometimes. Now don't get me wrong, nowadays I've learned to become comfortable speaking to people in small groups, in person and in Zoom. It's for work and stuff. But for some reason, when it's something that's more formal, like a presentation, both in person and on camera, or filming myself talking to the camera, it's really hard to do. So this is where the challenge came in. So what are the rules for my 31-day Speak to Camera challenge? When I was learning how to program, I had a secret weapon called the 100 Days of Code. It's a challenge where you write code for at least an hour a day and then tweet about it with a hashtag that other people could follow, and that part was more for accountability. Now, I think accountability is one of the most important thing for goal setting. I talked about this in my last video on writing a letter to your future self, which is using your future self for accountability. The long and short of it is that it is a challenge that has some structure and requires being accountable. Since doing that challenge worked so well for me, I was able to eventually transition into a career in tech. I searched for something similar for this whole YouTube camera confidence thing. And I stumbled on this YouTuber named Thomas Alex Norman, who had a 30-day course. At the same time, thanks to the YouTube recommendation algorithm, I found other YouTubers who created their own challenges. Like one person just winged a topic as long as they posted something each day. Another person had their partner write a topic they would randomly pull out of a box each day. So, of course, that gave me the idea to create my own prompt list for 31 days. I also got AI to give me some daily tips and focus points to work on each day, like maintaining eye contact, doing hand gestures, working on my tone, my pacing, and having good body language. You know, all the camera confidence stuff. Another rule for this challenge was that I had to speak to the camera for 5 to 10 minutes each day based on the prompt. I decided to start it at 5 to 10 because 5 minutes doesn't sound too bad, right? After I finished recording the hopefully 10 minutes video, I would post it to a channel, unedited, for accountability. This also had the added benefit of forcing myself to rewatch the videos. And if we want to do a sports analogy, it's like watching the replay to analyze myself to see what I need to be aware of and try to improve the next day. And I actually created this channel for the challenge and started posting daily videos here. So what happened during this Speak to Camera challenge? Day one, I was so nervous. My voice was shaking for the first few minutes, you could tell. It's very obvious. My goal is to and even though I was by myself, I still had butterflies in my stomach. It felt so weird doing it, and I even mentioned this a few times in the video as well. I was so self-conscious of my voice and had all of the nervous tics. I sounded robotic. It felt very unnatural being in front of the camera, like talking to the black dot. That's you, the black dot. So I didn't even think about the face I was making, and I definitely have what you call a resting bitch face. And I had to remind myself to smile occasionally. It was really about day 8 where it felt like a switch was turned on and I stopped feeling so self-conscious. It actually felt like I unlocked a superpower. And the surprising thing is that I unlocked it way sooner than I thought I would during the challenge. I also noticed that the more I tried to avoid saying or doing any nervous tics, the more likely I was to do them.
I'm gonna try not to say as much, even though it sounds more natural, but we're trying to improve here, so. All right.
So I shifted focus to just being more comfortable on camera, and that actually seemed to really help. And eventually throughout the videos, I just started feeling normal and I wasn't that scared anymore. At the midpoint, day 15, there were some noticeable and gradual improvements in confidence and my feeling of ease in front of the camera, even though it still felt a little weird because It's a weird situation. Having unblocked myself from the lack of confidence and self-consciousness, which was great, around this point was when I realized I needed to work on my delivery and my camera presence a lot more. And there were some mistakes I was making that I wasn't even aware of, like not seeming very natural or having a robotic tone of voice where I just didn't even sound like I was interested in what I had to say. If I was interested in the topic, I was actually much more engaged and animated, and it felt more natural and conversational. In another example, I found that I actually really liked it when I laughed because it shows that I'm being real. I'm being the real me. I also started to realize that it's probably going to take a while for me to be able to talk about something off the cuff and have it flow naturally and sound good and be engaging. And that made me realize that I needed to prepare for being on camera. This means at minimum, I should have at least an outline so I could have a coherent and more effective delivery. In the final stretch, day 20-something, I continued to feel confident and comfortable being on camera. Like, I even got better and it felt more natural at giving introductions, which actually felt really weird at the beginning. Hey everybody, this is Anne again, and welcome to my 31-day Speak to Camera challenge. There were even some days I found myself looking forward to the recordings, especially when it was a topic I was interested in. The senior software engineer, software engineering, software engineering, software engineer, software engineering, the software engineer, senior software engineer. And of course, there were other days where I had trouble with the motivation to keep going, especially when it was a tough day at work, layoffs. And on the last day, I was so proud of completing the challenge. I was also a little sad that it was over. So this challenge has the accountability built in, especially since it requires posting every day to do this. I think the thing that shocked me most about posting was how there were other people than myself who started watching the videos. And on top of that, people even commented on the videos. Some even came back every single day. I don't know why, but they did. Thank you. Even though some days were a drag and my motivation was low, I didn't want to let anyone down. And it was the accountability to you, to my viewers, the handful of you that actually logged in and watched me. It really helped with the consistency and regularly practicing the skill of speaking and being on camera. And as I kept going, it was what helped me build my confidence day by day. I started to feel less self-conscious about watching my stupid face and being afraid of what people might think of me. Okay, my face isn't stupid. It's just what I say to make myself feel less weird about talking to the camera and staring at myself for hours on end when I go to edit. So I had this self-perception shift where I just stopped caring about how I looked or how I sounded. And speaking of sound, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I find my voice very annoying and nasally. That's just what I sound like on camera, and I got over it. And I'm just over the feeling of judgment from others and from myself. This challenge helped me embrace the imperfection. When it's too polished and perfect, it could actually come across as over-edited and fake. Imperfection is what makes us real. It's what makes us our authentic selves. So I'm gonna take those extra long pauses. I'm gonna say those ums and those ahs and those you-knows sometimes, you know? As I was making content on the side for the travel channel while I was filming these daily videos and doing these prompts, I learned that there's a really fine balance between preparation and spontaneity. When I was super prepared and scripted, I noticed I could kind of be boring and bland. In contrast, when I'm talking more off the cuff, like with bullet points rather than a script, I'm definitely more animated and dynamic. Just know that the raw and unpolished stuff can still be valuable. And really, it was that spontaneity that helped me find my voice. I like to inject a bit of humor into things, and my humor can be dry sometimes and corny most times, but I was getting a better understanding of who I am and how I want my viewers to see me. So all of those takeaways are good and well, but they're pretty obvious. I mean, you should expect to gain confidence in a challenge called 30 Days of Speaking to Camera to Gain Camera Confidence Challenge, right? But there were definitely some unexpected things I learned from this challenge. I became a better communicator. Yes, I know, I am aware that is pretty obvious, but I mean it in a professional sense. Through this challenge, I worked on refining what I had to say and structuring my thoughts more effectively. I was able to apply this to my professional life in my day job. It actually helped me in my public speaking, giving me that confidence to take initiatives to be more visible in my job. which may or may not have helped me contribute to getting a very good annual review at work, which also contributed to getting a nice raise. Another unexpected improvement was getting better in my technical skills in handling the cameras and all the gear that I have and just learning how to use them better. I really suck at sound engineering. Is that what you call it? But like through this, I've learned more about microphones and sound quality and what good sound actually sounds like. To end on something less technical, the biggest unexpected gain that I got from doing this challenge was actually finding a community. Since the challenge required that I had to put myself out there, it gave me this platform, YouTube, to connect with other people. And some of these people even decided to start their own challenge and post their own daily videos. And not to give myself a pat on the back or anything, maybe, but some of y'all popped off, and I am so happy for you. So if you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel or have been wanting to create content on some other platform, but you're feeling shy or you don't think you have the confidence or the charisma, I'm gonna say, do this 30-day Speak to Camera challenge. If you have a smartphone with a camera on it, that's all you need to get started. It might even be more comfortable on a phone since you could pretend that you're FaceTiming a friend or something. My point is, you don't need a fancy camera to get started. I've linked the prompts that I used in the description for free. I even prettied it up a little bit in case you want to print it out and check things off as you post your video. You can use it as is, you can move things around, you could even just take it as inspiration and make up your own prompts or actions. I just want to see you do it. Like I said, it not only improved my confidence in speaking to the camera, but it also improved my presentation skills and my presence and my confidence to be more visible in my professional life. And since it's only 30 days, this isn't practice makes perfect. 30 days just isn't enough time to master something, but rather it's consistency makes comfort. And it's to be consistent, to train yourself, to make this a habit, to be more comfortable doing this inherently uncomfortable thing. And yeah, talking to the camera is really weird. Now, if you do decide to do this 30-day Speak to Camera challenge, here's a bit of advice. Be realistic and have realistic goals. Like I said, it's not enough time to master camera confidence and the camera presence and your delivery, but it is enough time to help you build the momentum to improve. Just focus on one or two main points that you want to improve on. For me personally, it was just getting over the hang-ups and self-judgment and self-consciousness, just getting over that fear. That was my goal. And I can say I've done that since I'm pretty comfortable now, right? But to be fair, this is months after completing the challenge, and I have continued to work on it since then. And lastly, try to structure your delivery around storytelling. I share my age, I share my profession, stuff that I like, stuff that I dislike, and the reasons why. I share the good and the bad experiences with you. This is storytelling, and it's a tool to help connect me to you through our shared experiences and our empathy with each other. It's because I don't just want to share information or how-tos, I want to create some meaning and connection with you. And if you do decide to do the 30 or 31-day Talk to Camera challenge to gain camera confidence, let me know. I had a bunch of fun the first time just being able to follow along with people's journeys. And I would love to follow along with your journey as well.